Janine's gonna regret this like big time. She's already regretting it. Oh, did you get them to work now? No, you didn't. I'm also hearing what I want to hear.
I can't get them to work.
Maybe I should put it into the mic. That will help.
Yeah, always good. Alrighty. Why don't we chat about why it's interesting to do a safari on the boat anyway? Or what's the advantage of shooting
What's different from a boat?
Yeah.
What?
No.
You'll jump in when you can.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think it's awesome shooting from a boat. It just gives you a completely different perspective to the vehicle, and it's so much quieter.
And so it's so different. The experience is so different.
Yeah, I love the perspective. I just love being closer to water level, and I love with the Pangolin boats that you don't always have to be up on the gimbal. You can lie down on your stomach there in the front. Well, most of the time I was just crouched down, like a crazy person trying to get into position, but you're getting nice down and low.
What's also nice is when you float with the current, you start at a certain distance and you just move gradually closer. I think the wildlife, they're a lot more chill than you can approach them that quietly.
Yeah.
How does it work for video for you?
Yeah, getting that panning motion when the boat is moving slowly past the subjects is also, it just makes it that much more cinematic with the birds able to slow it down.
It's almost like having a dolly.
Yeah, you're not able to do it in a vehicle because there's no way you can get as smooth as on the water.
You never get those shots. I mean, there's no ways that when we do an overlanding trip or something like that, we get nothing that even remotely resembles that.
Nothing with movements.
I find even when it's quiet on the boat, like this morning was more quiet, I tend to get more shots in than on a quiet game drive.
Yeah.
Because there's always the bird life from all the floodplains that you can kind of divert to, which is fun.
But you know what's cool on a quiet day like that? Unlike in a vehicle, there's more opportunity to interact because you can walk up and down. So in terms of banter and when you have a coffee, like we don't have to stop and get out to have coffee. It's like, oh yeah, guys, a little bit quiet. And you can be like, oh, does anybody want some coffee? And then you can just take it from there. So
if you're a bit old and broken and stiff, you can actually just stand up and not bounce around on a bouncy vehicle for 3 hours.
I think it's a really nice social experience on the boat.
It's
all about being old.
It's not low enough for you though, you said.
Not quite. No.
Yeah, if you land fast, you can actually hold the camera out above the water.
Yeah, you want to push the sides out.
I just put one portal hole.
But you had your 400 f4 like 2 centimeters above the water this morning.
Yeah, I have dunked it in the water a couple of times, but that's
but you can do that. It's awesome.
They tell me as well.
And we do that quite a bit, but I have seen crocodiles on this river that also lost their anxiety around boats because they see so many of them. So they tend to be a bit more curious than your average crocs around motors.
Yeah.
I wouldn't recommend doing what I do.
I reckon, though, it's the most relaxed birds in Africa here on the Chobe River. I mean, we're getting... How close were we to black-headed herons, stuff that you would otherwise never get close to? And here you're like literally tight on their eyes.
Probably the easiest place in Africa to photograph kingfishers.
Oh, yeah, hands down.
What's also nice with the boat, you're almost sitting in a single file, so you can be shooting on the right and then immediately swing around to shoot on the left. On a vehicle, you might be shooting over someone's shoulder. Also, what's nice on the Chobe is you got such a long bank to traverse, or the river to traverse, and you can really cover quite a bit of ground a lot easier than you can on a vehicle. So, your chance for seeing something along the river increases a lot just because you can cover that amount of distance.
Yeah. And it's surprisingly diverse. I mean, the first morning we went to Lilyland, which looks completely different to what it's been here around Serendella. So you're walking away actually with shots that look very different because you have those different bird species utilizing, you have the lilies, the reeds, the trees, like all the jackalberries that we've passed and some of the fig trees, and then bank, like sand bank where elephants could come down and, sand bathe, and you've got the baboons drinking. Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah, I think for me, the biggest advantage is the angle. That intimate perspective, low to the water, that really it just turns wildlife photographs into something a lot better, compared to when you're shooting from a lot higher.
Yeah.
And if you want something higher, you just stand up and shoot something higher if you want to. Or...
Yes, and if you're lucky, like we are now, we got these clouds. Like we've had epic clouds for 2 days now, and so you actually just want to go wider.
Doesn't help when you glued your 500 on though.
Well, I would say top tip is don't just come with your long lens. You know, you could bring even a 16 to 35 or even wide, 7 to 14 like you.
Did you find you that close up, Eddie?
Yes, please. That's the nice thing, though. Is literally it's a perfect place to bring all of your gear because you've got so much space on the boat to put it.
Exactly.
You can have your bag on the side and still swivel around fully. You can put it in the back and the front. So really,
Absolutely. Yeah.
I find people do get overwhelmed though. I get guests that bring literally every phone calling.
Oh, sorry.
And then they
Don't
don't.
bring everything.
No, I think it's good, but often they then don't know what
Yeah.
to pick up out of it. So you need to have a little bit of a vision. So when you think of Chobe, one should never generalize, but you get certain shots in the Masai Mara and you get certain shots, in the Serengeti, different shots in Kruger. You have ideas in mind. What is it you associate with Chobe?
But that's what's so cool about Pangolin Photo Safaris with you guys having a guide that's just concentrating on positioning and then a photo host that knows this area so well that you already see the shot in your head. So you can tell all those people or us, listen, rather pick up your wide angle lens for what's about to happen. So you actually eliminate a lot of that risk or that fear or that overwhelming nature of the guest. So yeah, it actually works really, really well.
But what is the shots you have in mind when you think of Chobe? What is it?
7-hole shot of an elephant right next to the sunset in the back and a leopard carrying a come over a dog.
I first think of birds. I must be honest, if I think of Chobe River, the skimmers, hands down, kingfishers, malachite kingfishers, jacanas. Jacanas on the lily pads. Those are the first shots that I think of. And maybe then I start thinking of ellies.
I'm strange. I'm the other way around. My head goes to elephants first, like elephants with the sunset, because you've got the nice wide open banks and the plains.
True.
Elephants swimming. Hippos. It's one of the best places to photograph
Yeah.
hippos.
Elephant silhouettes. There's no
elephant
place for
silhouettes.
elephant silhouettes like Chobe.
Yeah.
But I suppose that's probably because I wouldn't consider myself a super birder as well. So
Yeah, true.
it's probably not my go-to.
That's why you're so quiet yesterday morning.
I think
What do you hope to get out of Chobe?
Well, definitely the bird life is what I think about when I think about Chobe. Yesterday morning getting so close to that malachite kingfisher, for me was, iconic Chobe, and also those African jacanas. So yeah, mainly the bird life, and then the mammals come after that.
I'm surprised you haven't asked about owls here because I've never seen anyone more passionate about owls than Richard van Haght.
We need to
And you
get
haven't asked about
Yes,
whether they are pals or...
You need to look out for the poles.
We know a good area for pals that we should send you to. It's not in the park even, it's in town. But we should
Whoa,
go
no
check
ways.
it out.
Great.
There's a fish one.
No, it's not actually.
Can we go to it when we're staying at the
Yeah,
hotel?
we can.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, jeez.
But for me,
Let's check you out.
there's certain mammals, like, there's no place like here to see an impala give live birth, actually. Because
Really?
they're so chill that you almost need to bump them out of the road. We have so many of them. Obviously elephants, but also elephant behavior, because elephants do exactly what they would do if you were not there, because they're so unfazed. There's very few places where elephants are literally so unfazed, specifically around water.
Yeah.
Where can you find elephants walloping
Yeah.
in the water so carefree, not worried about your presence? I've never seen elephants swim like that. Close up, far away, play with each other.
Swimming across the river,
And
like
for me,
chunks up.
it's the rainy season is almost better for that. Sounds weird. During the dry season, the elephants cross the river to find grazing. And you get a lot of breeding herds with the babies even. And I mean, the tiny ones swim. It's incredible. But it's like very purposefully crossing the river. And then in the rainy season, you get them going the river because they're just so hot.
Yeah.
And they play for hours. And it's literally like toddlers in a pool.
Yeah.
It's the most amazing.
Yeah, I've seen that as well. I really love Chobe in January. January when it's like green tinge just on the bank. You don't have quite that dramatic dusty look, but you've got clouds, storms, elephants, mud bathing, even yellow flowers. I've had yellow flowers on the banks. Get a little bit of a devil's thorn flush, a little bit like Mashatu or the Kalahari.
I
Very
saw
nice.
you a devil thorn picture
Yeah.
for the podcast. And I was like, oh, he shot that in Chobe, and you probably
Yeah.
picked it for Chobe, and you're like, no,
No, it's
Mashatu. I'm like,
Mashatu.
"Ah."
Yeah. No, it's amazing that it happens here on the bank. And you wouldn't say it like when we like floating past it now, and you're like, oh, it's impossible. It's impossible. But that's what's so cool about Devil's Thorn. It surprises you.
If there's someone watching this video that wants to come to Chobe for the first time, and let's say they only have one opportunity, what would you say is the best time of year to try and obviously get the best experience out of Chobe, and also try and walk away with like a bigger portfolio of images? You know, sometimes in summer you're really limited, but you do get amazing things. But is there a time of year where you can almost hedge your bets a little bit to get the most out of your time here?
I think it depends a bit what your interest is. If your interest is big into mammals, I believe you should wait for the drier season, because that's when a lot of them have to flock to the river if they want to or not.
And sorry, is that sort of what, May to November? Or?
Our drier season starts really off mid-June, I want to say, all the way to October. But in October, you need to have the constitution for it because it's harsh, hot, dry. While July, August is a bit cooler. But for bird life, if that is your idea, then the summer months are way better. And we get all our migratory birds in the summer month. Personally, my favorite time of the year is actually late April, early May. It's mid of the jacana breeding season. That's when we have the water lilies on the river. That's when we have the white-fronted bee-eaters nesting. And this year we had an exceptional flood. But in normal flood years, you get the elephants coming into these floodplains, and they love water lilies. Everything loves water lilies because they're sweet. And they start picking like bouquets of water lilies. It's epic to watch. And from a boat perspective or a houseboat perspective, there's so many more places you can go in the flood season. You can go so much higher up the river. You can work so many more areas, which is, for me, it's amazing. You get giraffes drinking straight from the river because the river has expanded all the way to the edges. And it's still a little bit green. Nothing is yet starving or like super stressed. You still got good chances for cats. So for me, I love late April, early May.
Yeah. So we chose a good time.
Yeah. With
Oh,
a
it's
lot
been
of
amazing.
water this year, right?
Yeah, it's been
Even with all
incredible.
that water, we've seen a lot.
Yeah, it's been amazing.
And especially experiencing the birds. Like last night, we had the sun going down, the sky was red, and we had all of these pratincoles like flying next to us. It's
Unreal.
one of the most amazing natural things I've ever seen on safari.
First night lining up the fish eagle with the sun setting on the horizon.
That was the
That
was amazing.
I think that's a good point. Another pro about the boat, your positioning, you can position anywhere. So you can line up a shot with the sun exactly, on a vehicle, you might not be able to do that, but on a boat, your opportunity for, targeting different angles is massive.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And everything comes to interact with the river. That's why they come to the river. So you will always have the full view
It's a magnet.
of what's happening. Yeah.
And you constantly have flocks of birds flying over. So you're not just looking here, you're looking there. And then it's white-faced whistling ducks, or it's darters or cormorants flying over. And down by the rapids this time of the year, you've got all those storks coming down to breed. Storks and then some coming to breed. Herons, darters, cormorants. Oh, what a spectacle.
We still need to find that white-backed night heron seed.
Yeah, white-backed night heron.
We'll
But
try to
those
grab
black prime night herons is one especially to see how those bushes were covered in them.
Yeah. And even the skimmers. I mean, how many skimmers were on that sandbank? Probably close to 100 of them there.
would
Very
say
sleepy,
easily,
but a lot of them there.
Amazing to see.
Yeah.
Just saying they just around in the last
Just now, I want to say in the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks, they're flocking. They're waiting for the river levels to drop so that because they won't breed that densely, you'll have whatever 10, 15 breeding pairs per little sandbank. But that's what's so nice about, you asked about seasons. The Chobe goes from almost tropical lush green to fall out desolate desert. It's such polar opposites in our peak green season in January to our peak dry season in October, that wildlife behavior changes so drastically. And while we think about all the bird life, there is an animal density here that I can rarely find anywhere else. And I get very blasé about the Chobe, and then I go to other places and I'm like, oh, this is hard work. And then I come back here and really enjoy my time. And while it's a national park that's very popular amongst guests, from the houseboat, you get an exclusivity that you do not get while working the park.
Yeah.
From the town of Kasani, essentially. But with us as well, because as photographers, we don't like crowds. We try and work
Yeah.
around it.
But I must say now, with the new Pangolin Voyager being solar, it's definitely quieter than the old houseboat. So your experience when you have between these boat rides in the morning, just floating from point A to point B,
Well,
that's relaxing.
right now, driving and we're filming, and you can hear us talk.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's so quiet.
Yeah, it's nice.
You forget that you're moving something.
Yeah, gliding is a good word.
So you guys might not see it, but we are surrounded by glass everywhere. It's like literally big screen nature here all around us. And the cool thing, it's in our rooms as well. So if you don't want to be socializing with other guests or your friends, whoever you came with, you go to your room, you still have an enormous window that you can completely open, either with or without gauze. It's incredible. Last night I slept with it open so I could hear the hippos, feel the breeze. Yeah, incredible.
It is nice.
And don't be put off by the heat because all the rooms are a bit aircon. So
Yeah.
it
No,
might be hot on the afternoon ride, but I mean,
Yeah.
back at the houseboat, just super comfortable.
this is a
No
very...
pain, no gain.
It's a very, the houseboat specifically is a very, can be a very nice social experience. So you're either going to come here with a group of friends or family that you're very close with, or you're going to make friends because you have this lovely shared space here at the top. I mean, you can escape if you need to your cabin, which is super comfortable. But this space up here is just magical. And I mean, what is there? Like these 3 or 4 different areas that you can plonk yourself. You're either in the photo editing room if you want to work on your photos. If you like the sun, you're sitting out there on the deck, and you've got 2 lounges. I mean, what more do you want? It's epic.
So what camera, not camera so much, well, also camera, but especially what lenses did you find most useful so far on the Chobe River? If you could now pick anything.
I like range.
Yeah,
I like range.
agree. Range, rented video and photographs as well. So, I mean, also the subject sizes are different. You've got birds, you've got elephants. Just having that ability to zoom in and out, I think, for me personally, I much prefer that flexibility. Yeah, you sacrifice a little bit of depth of field. Like if you're shooting on 2.8 versus 5.6, obviously the background will be less out of focus. But I think just having that flexibility for me is, especially in a place like this, it's really handy.
The backgrounds can be tough in Chobe. It's not
Any
an
boat,
easy
I suppose.
background.
Any boat, though, because you're
Because
always
you have the
photographing.
banks going
Yeah.
up. That's the problem.
Yeah. But also don't underestimate your smartphone. The amount of video clips I've taken with my smartphone because of, the skies, whether it be the sunset or the clouds, and then just how cool it looks to have the boat in it. Low, up, everything. My phone's been working hard.
I must say, having 2 bodies also is really nice because me personally, I've got a 18600. I use that 90% of the time. And then I've got a 24 to 120. So, maybe we see elephants this afternoon, I might use that wide angle. But it's nice to grab one quickly. You don't have to sit there and change lenses. It really makes a big difference to the workflow and grabbing those photos is quick.
Yeah. And if you have a camera bag the size of the moon like Lance has, you have space for it, unlike in a car.
Everything from 7 mil to 600.
I can't believe that you get that through the airport. And I'm going to stick another camera in it.
Don't stick that.
You wonder why he's had his hip replaced. It had nothing to do with a wonky leg. Because he's been using that camera bag, the size, it looks like a tortoise when he walks with it.
You can pop that on your back.
Oh, hell no. No.
I forget you bought your wheelie bag. You should see his backpack.
Used to have
You see his
with that
backpack.
plastic.
It looks like a tortoise shell.
I have a
It's the
Chobe
same color.
50 liter and with a roll top. And when I put my jackets on the roll top, I also look like I'm out camping for the next 2 months.
The Click Elite Pros are
That's
wider
the-
than me. But it's still fit in overhead storage.
When I took him I'll take him and Kirsten to the airport, and then I would pick up their big bag and I'll put it in my car like this, and then I'd give him my camera bag. Can you help me with this? Here you go.
But
sure.
literally anywhere from super, super, super wide to long length.
Yeah.
There's lots of little birds here that you'll miss out if you don't
Yeah.
have something over 400 or 500 mils.
Yeah.
But you also want to be able to get the clouds, so you need 70 to 200 minimum.
I think if you're a birder, purely birds, a 600 F4 you can't beat.
Yeah.
Especially for the jacanas, kingfishers, smaller birds.
It's hard to track birds in flight with a 600 feet.
Yeah.
If you're used to it, then you
Yeah.
I mean, that's just unbeatable.
Yeah, unbeatable. Yeah, I agree.
Quality in the background blue, it's beautiful.
Yeah. Nice. Well, thank you so much for hosting us. It's been an absolute joy. Can we come back in October?
Please.
Yeah, we need to do the dry season this time.
Yeah.
So I'm actually around in September this year, it seems, because I'm not in the virus. September's a great time for me too.
Don't make promises you can't keep.
No, that's a verbal contract.
So once October, my problem with October is it gets so dry that the riverbank has nothing to offer anymore but food because it's so stripped of everything.
Okay.
So
August,
you actually
September.
see less than in September when there's still
Yeah.
a little bit left.
Big points.
Good to know. September it is.
Yeah.
Sweet.